A baby is found dead, prompting calls for a speed up in laws to make cots safer. Good evening, and that's the story we start with tonight. The tragic death of a 13-month-old baby girl at Children in County Durham. There'll be a post-mortem examination tomorrow on Victoria Louise Coyle, whose mother found her dead, tangled in the bars of her cot. Now her family, along with consumer protection officials, are calling for safety laws to be rushed through Parliament. In the meantime, they want warnings to parents about cots that could kill. We have this report from Liz Howell.
Victoria Louise Coyle was found dead with her cardigan caught in a cot rod. Her distraught grandmother wants other families warned about old or second-hand cots.
I just saw the baby lid on the end of the bed and I said, what's she there for? Because I thought they would be doing something. He said, well, it's too late, we just can't do anything for her. And I said, well, she's not dead. She was.
Why do you think this had happened?
The baby had had its cardigan fastened and a rail which had come loose, you know, how they fit into the sockets or something. And of course she'd grabbed and I think she'd pulled the rails.
Was it a second-hand cot?
Yes, yeah. Why, she didn't have the money like to get a new one because social, is it security only allow you so much a grant to get things, you know. So she had to get quite a lot with what she got.
This British Standards brochure reveals we have no laws on cot safety. Only months ago, another child died in a cot accident. Fire guards and prams have laws governing their safety, but we can still legally buy dangerous cots.
That's true.
Now, this situation is surely going to change in the future.
Yes, at the present time, the British Standard, which controls the construction of cots, is under review, and the government intend to bring legislation in to control cots as soon as possible after that's been introduced.
This could take, what, another year?
Within the next year.
In the meantime, from the consumer's point of view, what should they look for when buying a cot? Because there obviously is a problem. They could still buy a cot which is dangerous.
Yeah, well, one must remember that the best sort of cot to buy would be a cot that carries the British Standard, and if I can quote the number, it's 1753, 1977.
That number again, BS 1753, but parents be warned, especially if the cot is second-hand, as prior to 1977 there weren't even safety recommendations.
Well, let's hope that a tragedy like that doesn't happen again. And now we have a bit of brighter news from the industrial front. We go to the news desk and Rod Griffith.
Yes, indeed, Tom, and it's a new order, and it's to bring 250 jobs for shipyard workers on the Tyne. The privately owned company Smith's Ship Repairers at North Shields has won a contract to work on the Resource, a fleet auxiliary storeship. She arrived at the yard over the weekend, and today the company is recruiting the workforce. Only 7 months ago, Smiths laid off most of their men because there were no orders. The yard has been kept on a care and maintenance level. This new contract should give up to 450 men work for 7 weeks. Meanwhile, British shipbuilders have announced an investment of £4.2 million in the Sunderland works of the Engineering and Technical Services Division. The money is being spent on modern tools. A 9-year-old boy was killed this afternoon after falling down cliffs near South Shields. The accident happened near the Marsden Grotto. The boy, Eric Young of Myrtle Avenue in Whitburn, was taken to the Ingham Infirmary but died from his injuries. Police are still investigating the fall. The Home Secretary, William Whitelaw, has been campaigning in the region today. He described as nonsense Labour claims that the Tories had a secret alternative manifesto which they would implement if re-elected. And he warned that a vote for the alliance could still let Labour in by default. Here's Stuart McNeill.
With the election just over a week away, the Conservatives still have a substantial lead over Labour in the opinion polls, nationally if not regionally. The one fear that haunts them is a late rally by the Alliance, which could rob them of victory and result in a hung Parliament. And there are signs of a modest revival in Alliance fortunes. An opinion poll carried out for TV AM shows the Alliance moving up in third place and within striking distance of Labour. But the improvement in their showing appears to be largely at the expense of the Tories. It's clearly a factor which is worrying senior Tories like William Whitelaw, the only major political figure in the region today. After visits to Darlington, Hartlepool and Durham, Mr Whitelaw went on a walkabout at Washington Town Centre, shaking hands with around 200 shoppers in the space of 10 minutes. He dismissed Labour claims about a secret Tory manifesto and insisted that voters faced really one of two choices.
The choice remains the same, and I hope people will realise the choice remains the same. It is between a strong, united and firm Conservative government at a crucial time in the world's history and the alternative of a totally divided, disunited Labour Party that cannot agree on some of the fundamental issues of our time, in particular the defence of our country. That is fundamental. The Labour Party can't agree with it, and if they can't agree with that, then they are not fit to be the government of this country. And there are only two alternatives, either a strong, united Conservative government or, in fact, a Labour government. I don't believe that is going to happen, but it is still the only feasible alternative.
Well, now I think you'll agree that reaching 100 is quite a reason to celebrate, and that's what happened to someone yesterday. And the candles were lit, the cards were on display, and the family gathered round for a very special party. And the centre of attention? Well, through most of the proceedings, she either slept, gurgled, or screamed for her lunch. You see, it was a party to celebrate not the 100th year, but the 100th day of tiny Denise Buckley, who survived against all the odds, as Paul Frost reports.
Tiny Denise Buckley wasn't due to arrive in the world until May the 24th, but for one reason or another, she decided that would be too late for her. She was born on February the 19th, 3.5 months prematurely. She weighed only 1 pound 12 ounces and was about the size of a kitten. On top of that, she had a heart defect, and doctors couldn't guarantee that she'd live. In fact, her minute heart stopped beating on March the 18th, but she survived an emergency operation in Newcastle and fought back to health in the intensive care ward of Stockton's North Tees Hospital. At last, her mother Susan can hold her, something most parents take for granted with newborn babies, but a joy Mrs. Buckley has had to patiently wait for.
Susan, you're finally holding baby Denise. What does it feel like?
Fantastic. Really good.
Was there any time since she was born, that you thought you might not reach this day?
Yes, right at the very beginning, because they told me to live from day to day with her being so small. And then when she went to Newcastle for a heart operation, that was the worst, because I didn't think, with her being so smaller, it would go as well as what it has done. But since then, she's been all right, and I just knew I was going to take her home.
She's very, very tiny for a heart operation, isn't she?
Yes. She weighed 1 pound 12 when they operated, but she's put it on since then, so...
And what was it like for you, knowing that she was undergoing this operation?
It was nerve-wracking. It was really... How do you put it? It was really terrible, because while she was down at theatre, I just couldn't settle. I walked miles and miles around Newcastle, and in the end I just had to go back and see if she was back. But she was there, she was in the incubator, she was all right.
Now, some people call her a miracle baby. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And what about the hospital, the groundwork they've put in?
Oh, they've been fantastic. Without them, I don't know what would have happened. The staff have been really great. Been really super.
Denise has spent more time in the hospital's intensive care unit than any other baby, so she's more than special to hospital staff.
Well, we've had her so long, and she's so small, and she's done so well. And she's a proper little fighter, so pleased she's getting on so well.
Yesterday's party was a real family and hospital affair with 4 generations of Denise's family there to celebrate. Of course, no birthday party is complete without that song. The harmony may not be perfect, but no one can doubt the sincerity.
And so say all of us. Well, now what I'd like you to do is to meet one of the region's grandest old men. He's Bob Skelton, and despite the fact that he's well past retiring age, he still thinks nothing of a 10-mile walk or a quick run around with a ball in the park. In fact, you'll be amazed to know that Bob is over 150 years old, and Andy Craig caught up with him on an early morning stroll.
Black and White Bob, the Border Collie, celebrates his 22nd birthday later this week. And as any dog lover will know, each one of those years represents 7 of his dog's life. Now that makes Bob 154 doggy years old. He's not quite as steady on his old legs as he used to be, but the old-timer is still a great favourite with children. These kids are the equivalent of a century and a half his younger. Sylvia Skelton of Redwell Road in Prudder has had Bob since he was 7, and she says the sparkle has never left his eyes. So what is it that fortifies the over 140s?
Well, we used to walk 25 miles a day until we came to Prudder, which I did cut it down quite a lot on account of me just coming out of hospital. And of course he has a favourite food, which I also think helped, which was a prolonged active life.
Oh yes, that one, I see.
And he used to open his own tins of meat.
Really?
Yes, until a few years ago, until his gums is now getting soft.
Yeah. How long do you think he's going to go on for like this?
I don't know. We've had some tears. We've had a lot of tears, because usually when it gets cold, he loses the back end. I really love Bob. He's gentle. He has no badness at all.
Well, as you probably know, Sylvia, the Guinness Book of Records says that the oldest dog ever to live, I suppose, was 27 years and so many months.
Yes,
well, he's certainly got to be the oldest dog in the region, hasn't he?
Yes, definitely.
That is, of course, unless anybody out there can tell us otherwise.
Poor Bob, 154, and he still doesn't get a pension. Well, we'll be leaving you. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you then.
If the journey's short or long, just in case things might go wrong, you'll do just fine with the AA sign. It's great to feel that you belong.
There's AA Relay, breakdown or accident, and AA Home Start for breakdowns at home, all from the world's largest motoring organization. And the AA handles